Everything, brother. Really, just I'll have my phone. Something's on fire.
Welcome. Welcome to All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church. I am Reverend Doug McCusker. I use pronouns he, him, and I'm delighted to be your guest worship leader this morning. We are grateful to have all of you here with us today, whether in person or online. No matter what you believe, who you love, or your background and circumstances, you are welcome. Everyone is welcome. We have the joy of coming together, and we want to make sure that everyone feels welcome here. So please reach out and greet those who are near you this morning now.
Yep. Morning.
And who do we have on Zoom today?
Good morning, everyone. So far, we have Gary and Christy and Cal.
Great. Welcome. Good morning. On a quick practical note, you'll find listed in your order of worship several important announcements about upcoming activities at All Souls. So please check the insert for details. If this is your first visit here, please sign our guest book in the narthex near the front entrance so we can keep you posted with our weekly newsletter. You can also find information in the pamphlets and all the pews, so please join us for social hour after service. And now, I invite you to breathe. Take a nice, deep, slow breath. Breathe deeply and notice how your diaphragm pushes your lungs open and your belly out. And then let it out just as slowly. Come into this room. Be present, be focused, and be at peace. In the words of the Reverend Kathleen McTeague, we come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim ourselves awareness and gratitude, taking the time to look into one another's faces and to see communion. This house of laughter and silence, memory and hope is hallowed by our presence together. Let us take this time for quiet reflection as we listen in silence to our beautiful prelude. like to invite Kay Judd to light our chalice this morning. Out of the flames of fear, we rise with courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and peace. Out of the flames of scrutiny, we rise to proclaim our faith with hope to heal a fractured and hurting world. Out of the flames of doubt, we rise to embrace the mystery, wonder, and awe of all there is and all that is yet to be. Out of the flames of hate, we rise with the force of love, love that celebrates our shared humanity. Out of the flames, we rise. And with that, please rise in body or spirit, as you are able, to sing our opening hymn number, 1003 in the Teal hymnal, Where Do We Come From? And I think we're going to have some instructions here, right?
Instructions, yeah.
Awesome. Here. Yeah.
Okay, so as you find that hymn, you'll notice that it has 4 different lines of music. And the way that we're going to have this unfold is that first we'll go through each line of music 2 times, just in unison as a congregation, so we all get the parts in our ear. And then we're going to have this side of the congregation be the first group, this side be the second group. This side will start by singing lines 1 and 2, just straight through. And then when they get to the third line, this side will start. And the choir has rehearsed this, so if you're feeling nervous, look to them for guidance.
Just want to reiterate that when we actually do it, we're not going to observe the repeats.
Yeah, we'll sing each line twice so that we all get the lines in our ear for familiarity. But then when we do the actual thing, we'll just read it straight down, no repeating. And yeah, pay as much attention as you can to your fearless leaders. They shall guide you.
All right. So please rise in body or spirit as you are able and join us in this wonderful experiment.
Okay, 1, 2, ready, and.
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going?
Okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So the side of the congregation over here, we're going to be following these lovely folks, and we're going to just sing straight through lines 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the side over there, when we get to line 3, y'all will start. With line 1. Yeah.
We'll be okay.
Yeah. Okay, group 1. 1, 2, ready, and.
All right, let's try this all over again. You guys are not making it.
Nice. That was beautiful. How beautiful it is to sing together, is it not? Yes. So please join me in reading out loud our All Souls Covenant, which you will find in your order of service. In this house, we covenant with one another to build our connections on a foundation of love, hope, and faith, to accept responsibility for our individual acts and work together to promote equality, justice, and peace, to stand on the side of love, embracing the liberation of the oppressed and championing all movements to end discrimination, to communicate with kindness and support, and to serve with compassion and commitment, to listen respectfully with an open mind, and value our diversity as a source of our communal strength, to learn together and grow together, generously sharing our time, talents, and treasures, to celebrate the joys of discovery, embracing the fullest measure of our humanity from the wonder of youth to the wisdom of age, to openly share our laughter and our tears, showing reverence for the divine in all that is. I'd like to share with you now a story. We Unitarian Universalists, we humans, are story makers and story listeners. Story is the thread that holds us together in our lives. So join me in this story called Science and the Divine by Julie Regano. Once upon a time, in ancient Greece, in the town of Delphi, on the slopes of Parnassus, there stood a temple. This was a temple to the god Apollo. The ancient Greeks believed in many gods who had many different responsibilities. Apollo was the god of the sun, of music and dance, of healing, and many more things. The temple of Apollo at Delphi was a very important temple because of the high priestess Pythia, who served as an oracle or a prophet. Greek leaders would travel from all over for the oracle's wisdom. The Oracle of Delphi was one of the most prestigious oracles among the Greeks, and she was among the most powerful women in the classical world. Pythia would breathe in sweet-smelling vapors coming from a crack in the rock of the temple. She would channel the god Apollo and babble out what she received, while another priest would translate that babble into prophecies. It was a miracle, a direct connection and relationship with the gods. Usually, when we hear the phrase, once upon a time, we're ready to hear a story of make-believe. This is not one of those times. This story of the oracle is real. The temple on the slopes of Parnassus is real. Pythia and the priests were real. Even the vapors were real. Really? In 2000, the year 2000, geologists continued to think about the oracle and those sweet-smelling vapors that came from the rock of the temple. They wondered where those vapors may have originated. After more investigation and research, scientists discovered a previously unknown geological fault passing straight through Delphi on the slopes of Parnassus and right through the sanctuary and the temple of Apollo. This means that two tectonic plates of the Earth's surface met far underground beneath the temple. And sometimes the movement of those plates could have heated up the gases deep underground and lifted them up right into the temple, into the nostrils of Pythia. Geologists believe those gases from the earth caused Pythia's fits of passion and her prophecies. So it was science, right? That's an easy way to end the story. It was just science, those silly Greeks. But that's not the end of the story. The scientific answer does not mean that the Greeks were foolish to believe that they had a relationship with Apollo. The scientific reasoning does not erase the relationship that they had with their gods. When we walk in nature on a sunny day like today, appreciate the muscles in our body as we dance to music, or watch a loved one heal from an illness, we are witnessing science in the same way that the Greeks might have shown their devotion to Apollo and Oracle. Through these actions, we can connect with the holy and the scientific. Believing in science and feeling connected to the divine can absolutely happen at the same time, and often they do. Every week in our church, we take up an offering, which gives us an opportunity to exercise the generosity of spirit that supports all souls and our ministries. If you are visiting today, you are our guest. Feel free to let the plate pass. We see this act of giving, of growing more generous in our hearts and in our actions as essential to our spiritual well-being. We will now receive this morning's offering. Individually and together, we are building a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. Each one of you, by your commitment of time, talent, and treasure, helps make this grand vision real. I'd like to share with you a reading from Kathy to Ricky, entitled Letting in the Mystery. There is no more time than the present for us as Unitarian Universalists to examine how we value, perhaps even overvalue, knowledge. Unitarians have had a long-standing expectation of learned clergy. We boast of being a faith of reason, in which you don't have to check science at the sanctuary door. While our non-dualistic faith is what attracts people like you and me to Unitarian Universalism, we might also accept that the truth and meaning we are called to seek may be ascertained not only by knowledge and reason, but also through the heart, the soul, through deepest contemplation or highest conscience. In letting in the mystery, in being comfortable with not knowing, in embracing the ineffable, we must take our minds down from their pedestal and inhabit the rest of our body every now and then. Try taking a deep bow or engage in a downward dog pose. Get the head below the heart, which is the first step toward humility. Winter, as you have noticed, is slowly approaching. The trees are shedding their leaves, and the temperature is dropping at night. There's a quiet stillness this time of year as animals seek shelter from the frigid winds, or they hibernate in their dens to conserve their energy. Many birds have migrated south, so there is a little less music in the air. The bare trees reveal their true shapes as green is replaced by brown. This weekend marks the traditional time when many cultures believe that the veil separating the material world and the spiritual world is at its thinnest. Perhaps it is because the stillness of nature and the prevalence of darkness call us to look inward, where we can get in touch with our true essence that is quietly waiting for us to slow down. It is there where we feel the closest to the life force that some may call God. Like the seed patiently waiting in the ground, we come from that inner space, and someday we will return. Religions and spiritual traditions hold a special reverence for this quiet time, when the mystery of life reveals itself through its silence. Likewise, every culture through recorded history, and even before, has described certain places as sacred. Places of energy, where the veil between this world and the eternal world are thin. Often these places are mountains, where the air is thin, and the vertical dimension symbolizes a connection between the earth and the great beyond of the universe. Often they are rivers, where the horizontal dimension and the flowing water symbolize the movement of energy in an endless cycle. And of course, burial grounds have long been considered thin places because of their connection to the passage of the human spirit into the other world, whatever and wherever that is. In these places, we feel closer to our ancestors, those who came before us and walked on that very same hallowed ground. Mahatma Gandhi, in his spiritual message to the world, spoke in 1931, "There is an indefinable, mysterious power that pervades everything. I feel it, though I do not see it. It is an unseen power that makes itself felt and yet defies all proof, because it is so unlike all that I perceive through my senses. It transcends the senses. The thinness of a time and place can move us into the presence of the mysterious power that Gandhi described without having to name it or to capture it. There, all things you perceive through your senses are changed and illuminated with the presence of that power. In the newly revised Article 2 of the Unitarian Universalist Association bylaws, the General Assembly in 2024 added a section called Inspirations. This is the paragraph about the sources that ground and sustain us in ordinary, difficult, and even joyful times. Many of you may remember that previously, Unitarian Universalists spelled out 6 distinct religious sources. And you can still find them in like the first couple of pages in our gray hymnal. They included Christianity, Judaism, world religions, humanist teachings, and earth-based religions. The current version is a more succinct statement. Here's what it says. Direct experiences of transcending mystery and wonder are primary sources of Unitarian Universalist inspiration. These experiences open our hearts, renew our spirits, and transform our lives. We draw upon and are inspired by sacred, secular, and scientific understandings that help us make meaning and live into our values. Grateful for the experiences that move us, aware of the religious ancestries we inherit, and enlivened by the diversity which enriches our faith, we are called to deepen and expand our wisdom. So, essentially, our faith is predicated on direct experiences, including mysterious ones that leave us in a state of awe and wonder. In his book, Skinny Legs and All, by Tom Robbins, he wrote, "Religion is nothing but institutionalized mysticism. The catch is that mysticism does not lend itself to institutionalization. The moment we try to organize mysticism, we destroy its essence. Religion, then, is mysticism in which the mystical has been killed." Well, by using the word religion, I think Robbins is referring to religious dogma that has boxed the mystical into an institutionalized container with hard boundaries and a static essence that never changes. Commandments, creeds that carry eternal consequences if you dare violate them. Truth with a capital T. To Robbins, this is mysticism in which the mystical has been killed. But I object to his indictment of religion as equivalent to dogma, because I believe that there are not one and the same. Unitarian Universalism, Hinduism, Taoism, Baha'i, and Buddhism, all religions, they are all religions that draw from many sources and leave the door open to direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder. And even within the more formalized world religions, there is room for mysticism that refuses to succumb to the institutionalized rules. In Judaism, there is Kabbalah. In Islam, there is Sufism. And even in Catholicism, there is a long tradition of mystical encounters by people who had visions or heard things that guided their actions in the real world. I think that the key to living within the tension of mysticism and human teaching such as science is accepting the limits of our knowledge while remaining open to new data in whatever form that it comes. Being able to say, I don't know, with humility and graciousness, and reserving judgment of the direct experiences of others. Throughout my life, I have talked with numerous people who have experienced things that they can't explain. Premonitions that came through, dreams and voices in their minds that opened doors to new possibilities. Visions of spiritual remnants of the deceased. Who am I to judge? If it feels real to them and opens them to the forces that create and uphold life, then so be it. I say this because I had a spiritual experience once that I can't explain and don't even want to. It changed my life, and that's all that matters. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
15 years ago, I was working in the intelligence community, and I had a top secret clearance. The time came for me to take a counter-espionage polygraph test. This is a scientific contraption designed to tell if someone's lying or telling the truth. This is a requirement for everyone with certain levels of clearance. Basically, they ask you if you have ever committed espionage against the United States, divulged secrets, or committed acts of terrorism. They strapped a bunch of sensors to my body while I sat in a chair that was hooked up to the polygraph machine. As they proceeded to ask me the standard questions, unbeknownst to me, the machine indicated that I was lying. As far as the tester was concerned, I was possibly a spy. He asked me to explain the polygraph's results, but I couldn't. So they scheduled me to come in and take another test. Same result. And then another test. Same result. To the machine, I was lying, even though I was telling the truth. Well, with each test came interrogation. They demanded to know what I was lying about. They asked me about my religion, my political views, my foreign relatives. I have cousins and uncles in Colombia. Every trip that I had ever taken, they even wanted to know if I'd ever cheated on my spouse. My life had become an open book. They were determined to discover some nefarious secret that I was withholding. They used all the tricks in the trade to get me to confess to something, anything that would explain my apparent subterfuge. The problem was I had no explanation. I was as dumbfounded as them. And my interrogation of myself was just as cruel. With each test and each round of questions, I sank further into a dark hole of unknowing. I doubted myself. I even began to wonder if I had a split personality that had done things that the other half didn't know. I was an anxiety-ridden mess, unable to sleep and unable to focus. And I compounded it by not telling anyone about what I was going through, because I was ashamed, confused, and, well, alone. Well, thank goodness I maintained enough of a grip on reality that I refused to confess to something that I knew I had not done. But it still didn't relieve me of my confusion. After the last test, my inquisitors told me that they were going to turn me over to the authorities and that I would probably lose my clearance and, as a result, lose my livelihood. Well, the next day, It was November. It was time like this. It was actually Veterans Day, so I was off. And that day I was in my background running my lawnmower over all the leaves that had fallen on the ground. I was running the whole polygraph encounter around in my mind for the umpteenth time, trying to find an explanation of why my life was about to be ruined. I was making a huge racket. Dust and bits of leaves were flying everywhere when suddenly I heard chirping over the sound of the lawnmower. Right on the tree trunk, at arm's length, were two itty-bitty birds squawking at me. Not on the branch, but on the trunk. Behind me, another tree, were two larger birds squawking at the baby birds, or maybe at me. None of this made sense. They had no business being around me and my noisy lawnmower. But there they were. I wasn't hallucinating. It was real. And that was the moment of my direct experience with the transcending mystery and wonder affirmed in all cultures, which moved me to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces that create and uphold life. I turned off the lawnmower. Yes, I started crying. I crumpled to my knees. I looked at those birds and I said, "Thank you. Thank you." I couldn't translate their chirping, but to me, they were telling me that I was not alone. In my utter despair, I was still connected and held. I call those birds my spiritual guides. Their mere presence showed me a way out. I went into the house. I told my spouse what I'd been going through, and I dumped my entire burden on the floor. Now, this part's going to make me cry. She looked at me with eyes of love, and she said, "I believe in you. If you lose your job and we have to live on a street corner, I'll share a tent with you." Oh man, talk about a renewal of the spirit. She reached out to me with love, and immediately the power that my inquisitors held over me vanished. My fears of imprisonment and public disgrace were replaced with belief in myself. Now, I never found out why I flunked the polygraph, but I did know who I was and that I was not alone. And that's what really matters. Now, in case you're wondering, the FBI never investigated me, and for some reason, my agency let me continue to have my clearance. I guess they knew that polygraphs are not accurate. I reevaluated my goals and decided that I was no longer in sync with my job. So I pursued the ministry. Here I am. I think the universe was telling me, move on. And it was the kick in the pants I needed. Now, can I explain those little birdies? No. But thank goodness they were there. And that I had the presence of mind to listen and interpret a message that I needed to hear. I am not spiritually adept enough to call those birds back whenever I need them. But perhaps their job was done. It's up to me to be open to the mystery and to make meaning of it whenever it comes. The meaning-making part is our job. That's where the wisdom, the words, the deeds, and the teachings from other traditions and science come from. It's not mystery versus knowledge. It's a both and. That's what constitutes a spiritual faith without idolatries of the mind and the spirit. an openness to mystery and the responsible search for truth and meaning, a holy curiosity of that elusive spark of unknowing. If we keep ourselves open to the spirit of life, to the wonder and the awe of the unknown, we will find that we are never alone. At the heart of mystery is not the unknowable, but unity, the nexus of all our individual souls. We catch glimpses of it from time to time, but we must tune into it with our whole mind, body, and spirit in order to listen. Our spiritual helper with the divine spark may be a little birdie, or the person beside us, or the still, small voice in the wind. You will know it when you receive it. May it be so. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able
352.
to sing hymn number 352, Find the Stillness. It's in our gray hymnal, 352. We take time for members and friends to briefly share a deep joy or sorrow that you would ask us to hold with you. Okay. A microphone will be brought to you if you raise your hand. Candles located on the side windows over there may be lit at any time during the service to express unvoiced joys and sorrows. Now please note that this is not a time for personal or political announcement. We care for each other by being present and attentive to each other's authenticity. So please state your joy, concern, or sorrow directly from your heart. One very great joy that we feel today is to have visitors to All Souls. And during this time, we warmly invite any visitors to introduce themselves. While this is not required, we would love to have the opportunity to welcome you.
I'd like to light a candle in memory of Peter Amadon, who's a Brattleboro musician who arranged this morning's offertory and who passed away about a month ago.
Morning. Morning, my name's Russ. Light a candle of sorrow. We do a bunch of things around the church here, and I found somebody's left some of their things out on the side of the building, including a sleeping bag. Even though I do this primarily for the church, I'm the only one who's finding this stuff. So it's like each day I'm wondering what's going on with this person. And it can't be, great. And so I'm just hoping for the best. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tina. I was at the first night of a scientific workshop for the Progeria Research Foundation in Cambridge, where the last one we went to, Sammy Basso from Italy, was the one who talked with other other young adults and children with progeria. And this year, my child, young adult, Merlin, took that place and was talking and hosting the talk with 3 other people, one from, Kaylee was from Ohio, and Michael and Amber were from Belgium. And it was heartwarming because there's now we're dealing with young adults, which years ago, we weren't thinking that when we were trying to save children with progeria, because there were very few young adults. But what's perfectly going with today's service was I was talking with Wim, who's the father from Belgium, who has the siblings that have progeria, which is even more rare. And we were talking about messages, and we were mad about, quote, religion. And I was saying, remember, but the dragonfly landed on my finger and it had tattered wings, just like my brother, whose memorial service we were at when that dragonfly landed on my finger. And so I would bring up things like that. Well, that's just a coincidence. But it's exactly what I was feeling, and I said, this is the mystery.
Amen.
David, would you light a candle of sorrow and concern for the many folks from all walks of life who are facing increasing food insecurity and a kind of comorbid combination of food insecurity and emotional insecurity? And if you would also light a counterbalancing candle of hope and joy for the experience that myself and I know several from our church had last night in Shelburne, where they had a huge gathering of people trying to experience the hope that comes from solidarity, the transcendent wonder that music is such a channel for, and for people like my friend Robin, who are going to try to continue some of that after our service today and have a circle of sharing to give each other strength and hope.
Hi, I'm Christine. David, if you would, light a candle. When I think about Molly Chambers and I think about all the things that she has done in this community, I just want to light a candle for her. She's not with us here today, but she's still with us, and I hope to see her sometime soon.
A moment of scare happened. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Jane. I had a really nice experience yesterday. I wasn't planning to share something about this, but something that just happened made me think this is where you need to share. Something really nice happened yesterday. I wasn't planning to share about it, but I have an old family friend, I would say, of. Say this in this room, I don't really know people here. Of the 3 women my brother's been married or partnered with, this is the one I like the most. So anyway, she's somebody around my age. I think we discovered yesterday, 3 years older than me. And for the last couple of years, she's been at the Arbors in the Merrimer unit. And I really made a point before my brother went on his southern sabbatical this year to say, okay, I'm living in this area. I want to reconnect with this person. Take me to visit her there so I can do it myself and feel comfortable with it. And I did that yesterday and took her on an outing up to Hager's for fried dough and maple cream. And just, she was so grateful, and I'm so grateful because I know what it meant to her to get out on a beautiful day. And I kept saying to her, and I'll say it a million times, I live here now. This is not a one-off. She keeps saying, how long are you in town for, Jane? And I'm like, I live here now. We can do this. So I'm really grateful for that, and I just wanted to share that.
Do we have any on Zoom?
Yes, sharing Rob's concern and sentiment is Cassie, who says that she would like to light a candle for those facing greater food insecurity, and also light a candle for those affected by Hurricane Melissa. Thank you, Cassie.
Yes, of course, this week we learned that SNAP, we would lose SNAP, and many people, then we had many people were completely frightened. What are they going to feed their families? What are they going to eat? And fortunately, the Boston judge said, okay, that is not going to work. We're going to cancel that declaration from the Trump department. But the trouble is she made this window, which was the month of November. And I've been told that we can't get the food back for a couple of weeks. And I think we're going to have to find ways in our community to find the food for the people. We couldn't be better prepared. We have Stone Soup, which has been feeding people for years. We have the Interfaith Council meeting. We will find a way, but we have to show up and make a difference. And then I have one other thing to say is that in the mystery of things, some of us have been working on climate change, and we measured the carbon sequestration content, the ability of trees to capture carbon and hold on to it. And if there was any mystery that deserved our careful and thoughtful and mystical attention, It's how the trees are speaking to us now, because they're telling us we have to drop the carbon that we are putting into the atmosphere thoughtlessly by driving cars and overheating houses and things like that. So thank you very much.
Please join me in a moment of reverence and prayer. Spirit of community, spirit of love, spirit of life, in which we share and find strength and common purpose. We turn our minds and our hearts toward one another, seeking to hold in our hearts all our joys and sorrows, both spoken and unspoken. Please join in singing Prayer to Friends, which you can find as an insert in the front of your hymnal. We are the ones who live wholeheartedly and courageously. We are the ones who reach past the known to hold that which is liminal, nebulous, and layered with complexity. Whenever we do this hard and holy work, whenever we show up with our hands trembling and our hearts fluttering, may we know that we are not alone, and that we have what we need for this moment. May we remember that we are woven together, and we may trust that we can lean into the container of the mystery and community to hold us together. We will extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. So go in peace, serve the world, and return in love.
for social hour, social 15 minutes, whatever. I'd like to invite anybody who has announcements to speak now.
Hi, everybody. I want to invite you all after coffee hour to join us up front for a circle we're going to make just for an hour-long discussion that I'm calling Finding Hope Through Community and Right Action. So it's just a chance to listen and share about how you're doing with what's happening in these times, where you're finding hope, and how we might, as a community, support each other to find the right actions for each of us to take that works for us to do. So hope to see you there, 12:15 or a little after.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So I'm exploring an idea. I live in Northampton in a neighborhood that has a little more. Is this better? This better? Okay. I live in Northampton in a neighborhood where there's extremes of wealth and poverty, like very, very close by. And I've got an idea for something called, maybe you've heard of it, community fridges. I saw online Harvard Public Health has an article about it. And if anybody has any experience with that, even though the SNAP benefits may come back, it might not be a bad idea to have a community fridge in my neighborhood. What? Refrigerator, yeah, a community refrigerator where you can get food. Dry food, I have a friend on food stamps and she says it's the fresh food that's hard to get. So if anybody has any experience about how to make that a successful thing, because apparently they don't all work. So anyway, I'll be having tea over here. Tell me.
Thanks, Ginny.
Hi. So next Sunday, November 9th, after service, we're going to be having a short conversation around just safety procedures here at the church, both for, every Sunday service, but also just how we think about security and safety when we're having people over for events, especially in these, troubling times. So please join us, and hopefully we can find good ways to keep ourselves safe.
Thank you, Taylor.
A couple of quickies. As a greeter, if you're new here, we have a guest book in the entryway. Please put your name in there and contact information if you'd like to hear what's going on here. As a member of the property committee, if you don't have enough to do at home, we have leaves in our yard that could use raking up. We have bags, we have a barrel. If you have a rake, if you have any spare time and would like to help us, see me. Thank you.
I was at the same event that Rob was at. Oh, okay, sorry. My name's Karen Schaefer, and Rob Peck was at the same event that I was at. And I know you've not I'm supposed to make political announcements, but I have reading this fabulous book called Impeachment, A Citizen's Guide. And Cass Sunstein is the Robert Wellesley University professor at Harvard Law School. And he wrote this very clear citizen's guide for impeachment. As Benjamin Franklin famously put it, Americans have a republic if we can keep it. Preserving the Constitution and the democratic system, it's the support of the public's responsibility. One route that the Constitution provides for discharging that duty, a route rarely traveled, is impeachment. But maybe it's time for impeachment.
Okay, friends, I'm going to put my stone soup hat on. So on the day we call Thanksgiving, which if you don't know, the whole story's a lie, we will have upstairs from noon until 1 o'clock the simulcast of the Day of Mourning from Plymouth, right here in the sanctuary. And unlike the last 5 years of this, we will have indoor dining downstairs from 1 until 4 p.m. for Thanksgiving Day meal. We are working a miracle, but we've been working this miracle for a little bit, so we feel kind of confident that we can turn the dining room over to seat about 90 people for contiguously turning around and whatever, from 1 to 4. So signups will happen soon. You'll see it on the website. You'll see it on social media. But I just want to let you know there will be a Thanksgiving for the people, except we call it Day of Mourning and Giving Thanks instead of that other moniker. Okay, I'm leaving my stone soup hat on. We'll know tomorrow whether or not the Trump administration will decide to appeal not one but 2 judges' rulings about SNAP. We can sit in doom and gloom, or we can look at this as an opportunity. And just like during COVID, when we all came together and we made each other meals, or we visited on Zoom, or we called each other, or we jumped in and wore masks and made meals, more meals than we ever made before downstairs, or we donated what we could and didn't hang on to wealth, but spread it around for community good. We have that opportunity to do all of that again. I heard something the other day, and I just want to say this out loud to you. It comes from Alok, and if you don't know, Alok is a non-gender conforming person who happens to be a very deep spiritual thinker, but also presents themselves as a comedian. And Alok said, when we say, I don't understand, it cuts us off from us being open to being compassionate. I don't understand why you're like that. I don't understand why you're hungry. I don't understand why you're homeless. It doesn't matter. You don't have to understand. What we have to have is compassion. So that's not my words. It's their words. And quite frankly, that's what we all need right now, is compassion for everybody, including the people we disagree with, don't like, and are making our lives miserable. Just say compassion. Thanks.
Kirsten, do you want volunteers to help out with that Thanksgiving meal?
Yeah, there'll be sign-ups and stuff coming. It'll happen sometime this week.
Okay.
We'll have more volunteers than we know what to do with on Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
There's only other times of the year that
All set. There is some warm cider as well as coffee and tea and other.
What just happened? Well, I don't know.
Maybe they turned off the camera because if we're talking, the signal's still there.
Yeah, there's a chat room that can pop up.
Oh, okay.
I know. I was listening to Kirsten too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was also trying to speak during the sharing thing, and apparently waving your hand doesn't work. So,
No, chat.
Yeah, there is
I know. I'm like not in a place where I can function, but anyway, I'm gonna go.
Okay. Well, nice seeing you.
Nice seeing you too. I'm gonna try to.
Bye.
I'm thinking I want to join the choir, so I'm gonna
Oh,
do.
nice.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Gary.
Bye.
Christy. Bye.
If we. Well, okay. I'm.